Fashion expert shows simple way to mimic the Kate Middleton's winter style. The Princess of Wales was pictured wearing a light brown and cream patterned silk scarf during the royal family's traditional Christmas morning walk to church last month. The Princess of Wales is a style icon for women across the UK and around the world. Fashion enthusiasts carefully study what she wears at every public appearance to inspire their own outfits and accessories. And now one expert has explained how to mimic the style Kate, who celebrates her 44th birthday on Friday, sported while walking to church on Christmas morning. During the royal family's traditional Christmas morning walk to St. Mary Magdalene Church in Sandringham, the princess was pictured wrapped in a long brown plaid coat, along with a dark brown fascinator with a floral motif, and a light brown and cream silk patterned scarf. She also wore brown boots, and a dark tartan skirt, along with dark brown gloves, accessorized with gold hoop earrings and a brown handbag. Now one fashion expert has shown how to mimic her style by tying your scarf in the same way the Princess of Wales does. Laura Ann Barr, who has more than 81,000 followers on TikTok, where she posts life and fashion tips as all that's pretty, recently posted a video demonstrating how to style your neckwear exactly as Kate does. The video showed Laura Ann wearing a dark green dress, accessorized with a green patterned scarf, which she used to demonstrate the method. The description read, "It's no longer just a Princess Anne scarf it would seem, and I am thrilled about it. But have we been making this too complicated all along? I think this is how the Princess of Wales is tying hers, and it's ridiculously easy and thankfully impossible to get into a tangle for once." Speaking in the video, Laura Ann said, "It would seem we've been making this a little bit more complicated than it needed to be. Let's try this again because the Princess of Wales seems to do hers in a very simple way." The video, which also features a number of images of Kate in her Christmas morning outfit, shows Laura Ann untying her scarf, before saying, "She is wearing a coat, so I am going to put a coat on, just to give the similar look." She then puts on a light brown checked jacket, saying, "It's more of a blazer but it's giving the same effect," where she wants to clearly fill this whole space, indicating the upper middle portion of her chest not covered by the blazer. Laura Ann then demonstrates how to tie the scarf, saying, "Put this around her neck, slightly longer on one side. The slightly longer side you are going to cross under, and she does seem to wear the knot slightly further up on one side. You're just going to slip that through and back down from here," she said, indicating to the portion at the neck. "And then just sort of push that knot slightly further up to one side. And then she's just tucking this in," she says, as she tucks the scarf under the breast portion so it doesn't hang over the jacket. Laura Ann continued, "It's so simple compared to all those other styles we've been trying to do, but obviously I think he just wants to fill this nice gap in here," indicating to her upper chest. But there we go, Princess of Wales approved. It's no longer just a Princess Anne scarf. Showing another picture of Kate wearing a similar scarf over an open blazer and white blouse, she added, "What does it look like when you take the coat off? That's the other question," before taking her own jacket off. "I think it's still really nice. It gives like a longer look rather than having too much going on at the top, so there you have it." The Princess of Wales' plans for her birthday have not been revealed, but she is likely to spend it with her family. Kensington Palace often shares new portraits of members of the royal family on their birthdays. Buckingham Palace issues explanation after true use of royal helicopters emerges. Buckingham Palace has defended the royal family and one of their modes of transport after reports emerged that their helicopter fleet racked up tens of thousands of miles in less than a year. Buckingham Palace has defended the way the royal family often travels after it was reported that their helicopter fleet has flown an extraordinary 58,000 miles in a 9-month period. The firm's pair of new Augusta Westland AW-139 helicopters, which entered service in the beginning of 2025, are said to have flown select members of the monarchy the equivalent of twice around the world in less than a year. Flight records reveal the aircraft accumulated 420 hours in the air between February 25 and the end of November, with at least one helicopter taking to the skies on 142 of the 279 days during that period. In response to the findings reported by The Telegraph, a spokesman for Buckingham Palace said that the helicopters allow for the royals to easily reach remote places and undertake multiple royal duties in one day, streamlining travel for maximum impact. Helicopters are a key component of the Royal Travel Plan due to their unique capability to access remote regions of the UK, which are not otherwise readily served by other modes of transport, the spokesperson said. They also allow members of the royal family to undertake multiple engagements in a given day. The Mirror has also contacted Buckingham Palace for comment. Princess Anne was the most frequent user of the new helicopter fleet, with flight data showing 68 stops at her Gatcombe Park residence in Gloucestershire, reflecting her consistently high number of public engagements throughout the year. Prince William has also made use of the choppers, which made a total of 52 stops between Windsor and Forest Lodge, the new home he and Princess Kate moved into with their children in October. The Princess of Wales reportedly used a new helicopter for solo engagements, and she and William also traveled in the aircraft together for joint duties in 2025. It was announced in June 2024 that the royal household was to take delivery of 2 new leased helicopters to replace 2 15-year-old Sikorsky aircraft and was committed to maximizing their use. Tim Fauchon, the chief executive of the British Helicopter Association, BHA, said the king was leading by example when it came to using the greenest forms of aviation. An aide said last year that helicopters were a very important tool, allowing the king and other members of the family to be seen throughout the length and breadth of the UK. Asked whether helicopter use should be reduced, the official said, "If you're going to make an investment of that magnitude, then you need to sweat the asset. So, therefore, you need to maximize the utilization of the aircraft, otherwise you end up in a situation whereby a small number of visits, compared to the cost of running those assets, does not make good financial sense." Andrew plans to refuse cottage exile as Sarah Ferguson's future is revealed. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor may be looking further afield when it comes to starting the next chapter of his life away from the royal fold, and Sarah Ferguson is fighting back. Norfolk might not cut the mustard for Andrew when it comes to his new home. When it was announced that King Charles would be formally stripping his errant younger brother of his titles and royal styles, it was also revealed that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and ex-wife Sarah Ferguson had been finally persuaded to give up their lavish Windsor home, Royal Lodge. Andrew had an ironclad lease with the Crown Estate for the 30-room mansion, and so there was no way for the monarch to force him out. Instead, the disgraced former Duke had to agree to leave of his own accord. Despite the fact that Andrew and Fergie have been divorced for decades, the pair have remained close, and still share the home, for now. It was initially said that the former couple would move out of the property early this year, but now it looks like the pair might be handing back the keys to Royal Lodge later than initially expected. Andrew has been offered a new home on the Sandringham estate, a 20,000-acre property that King Charles owns privately in Norfolk. Marsh Farm is said to be a collection of ramshackle buildings in need of serious renovation, and experts have claimed that it's likely the former prince will shun the humble abode offered by the royal family and look further afield for a more luxurious option. Royal biographer Robert Jobson told People magazine he believes Andrew will end up in the lap of luxury in the Middle East, where he has many connections from his years as trade envoy. The king saw the King of Bahrain the other day. One never knows, it could be a place where Andrew gets the recognition of being the second son of Queen Elizabeth, rather than this, Jobson said. The author added that other figures, like the abdicated King Juan Carlos I of Spain, have previously retreated to the Middle East to get away from the spotlight, so there would be precedent for a move like this. Other disgraced people have gone to the Middle East. Andrew did a lot of business in Bahrain, and he's still relatively young, the author added. I just can't see him being on an isolated farm in Sandringham. Another expert, Andrew Lowney, who wrote an explosive biography of Andrew and Sarah, echoed Jobson's sentiments. He doesn't like the sound of being on the Sandringham estate. I think he wants to go somewhere where he can just get away from everything, Lowney adds. Whilst Andrew could be keeping one eye on the Middle East as an option, it's been confirmed that Sarah will not be joining him in this next chapter. Fergie is reported to be looking for a new home of her own, potentially remaining in the Windsor area, which she has lived for many years. Earlier this year she sold a property in an affluent London neighborhood, and it has been reported that both of her daughters have offered the 66-year-old a place to stay in their own houses. Eugenie, who owns a seaside mansion in an exclusive neighborhood in Portugal, dubbed the Hamptons of Europe, is said to have set aside a grand suite for her mother if she chooses to leave the UK. Beatrice, for her part, is reported to have offered a converted cattle shed in her Cotswolds home as a granny annex for Fergie, should she need it. A source close to Fergie reminded People magazine that Sarah is nothing if not a fighter. No stranger to public controversy after all these years in the spotlight, Sarah has turned reinventing herself into something of an art, and regularly finds her way back into the public's affections. Lowney told the Mirror that in his view, she manages Thisbe following a particular pattern. She just plays the victim, the biographer said, and that plays well in the States. She says, well, I can pick myself up, it's my own fault, it'll be different in the future, that was a different person, and then she just goes and repeats the mistakes all over again. Both Andrew and Sarah are facing renewed scrutiny over their connection to convicted sex offenders Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell with the release of the Epstein files. Both were pictured in the document dump during the festive period, though this is not necessarily indicative of wrongdoing.